the president of the Boys and Girls Club, president and CEO out of Madison and Dane County.
Yes, sir.
We got Michael Johnson in studio.
Yes,
Look,
sir.
a lot of people in Madison, a lot of people from around these parts, they familiar with the work that you do.
Yes, sir.
But you didn't drop the book. You didn't did so many things over the years. I think that the first time I saw something you was doing, you was on Good Morning America.
Yeah.
And then I think a lot of the issues in the community when people gather, you were always involved in that.
Absolutely.
But you're also involved in the Boys and Girls Club where you have done so many things for the community in Dane County.
Thank you.
That's powerful.
Thank you, man. I appreciate
So it's a blessing to have you on the show. And you got a book out, and this book is the Audacity to Lead. This is the name of the book. What's going on here? What's all this?
Man, I put this. Let me first of all say it's a real honor, man, to be on your show. I've heard so many great things about you. And his brother named Steve-O, somebody had connected the two of us, and he was like, you got to go on The Truth. That has to be your first interview before you go across the country talking about your book. So I wanted to come here, man, and chat with you. And the bottom line is, man, I was a kid that grew up in the projects on the west side of Chicago, couldn't read, couldn't write, got shot at, almost committed suicide. And you look at me today, somebody has raised over $250 million for young people all over the country. And you rarely see black men doing that at that capacity. So for years, people have been asking me to put out a book. So I put the book out, and I'm laying out a blueprint.
How long did it take you to write it?
Man, it took
because it took you a lifetime to make it.
It really took about 8 years for me to do it, right? So it took me really about 4 months to write it.
Okay.
But I was skeptical about putting it out because sometimes, man, like growing up where I grew up at, when you grew up in a neighborhood that's infested with gangs, drugs, and poverty, and you get into these public roles, sometimes people don't understand some of the challenges that you've gone through to get to where you're at. And I just say, you know what, man, people close to me was like, you've done so much good, not only in Wisconsin, but across the country. Put that blueprint out. So part of it is a memoir about my life. And the subtitle of the book is From the Projects to the C-Suites, but it's also about having the audacity to lead and the 7 mindsets on love, family, and turning your adversity into impact. And that's pretty much what I've done.
That sounded powerful.
Thank you, brother.
And as an advocate, because many times you got to get out and advocate for those in your community as well. And they say with great responsibility, you got to have, extra patience.
Absolutely.
Extra patience, you know what I mean? As your territory expands, when it comes to dealing with the Boys and Girls Club and raising money and assisting people with housing, how were you able to get through all of that?
Yeah.
Many times when people say, okay, we got to sit around and wait for somebody to come.
I don't wait for nobody, bro.
What is the mindset? How were you able to put yourself in a space where you can help others?
Yeah, people, sometimes when you're in these leadership roles, people throw shots at you, right? People show you a lot of love. But I've learned, man, you got to just roll around people or just roll over people. And so in Madison, when I grew up in Chicago public schools, I couldn't read, I couldn't write at college proficiency. And when I took over the Boys and Girls Clubs 16 years ago, we run one of the largest college preparatory programs in the country where 97% of my kids, black and brown kids, are graduating from high school and they're going on to college. And we have data from the University of Wisconsin that showed that we're moving the academic needle for black and brown kids to the point that the U.S. Secretary of Education, Arnie Duncan, highlighted our work on the front page of the Department of Education. Secondly, I am black first and foremost, and I never have had an issue standing up on social justice issues, even when our community is under attack, right? So people attacked me when we raised the money when Michael Brown was killed in St. Louis. It was the mayor of that city and the Urban League CEO who asked me to come down and to raise money, and we did that. And we put all 3 of Michael Brown's siblings, raised scholarship money for his kids to go to college.
I didn't know Michael Brown had kids.
No, not his kids, I'm sorry, his siblings.
Oh, okay.
The same thing with Ahmaud Avery. When he was killed, I ended up partnering with Omari Hardwick, who was the star of Power, brought him on Facebook, and we did a town hall meeting, and we ended up raising money for Ahmaud Avery's sister so she could finish her graduate program.
That's powerful.
And then even when, young people are killed, when Black and brown people need houses, you'll see me over the holidays raising hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy houses for people, to put people into cars, utilizing your influence to be a blessing
like
to
Oprah
other
Winfrey.
people. I ain't quite like Oprah yet, but
you get a car, you get a house.
You use the power of social media to help people. And in Wisconsin, we have one of the largest home ownership gaps in the country.
Right.
And if I can utilize whatever influence that my organization have, we try to be a blessing to other people.
Now, we talk about the youth nowadays, and I know that you run a lot of the Boys and Girls Clubs out in Dane County.
Yeah.
But it's 2025.
Yes, sir.
What are the resources and the outlets do these young people need? Are the old traditional ways of dealing with how we were dealt with, we was outside, we was playing kickball, we was doing all this other stuff. Now, in this new age of technology, a lot of different interests. Children have a lot of different interests.
No doubt.
Where do we need to be?
You got to meet young people where they're at. And so I would say, we don't run a traditional Boys and Girls Club. Yeah, we have preschool, we have after-school programs, but a third of my staff work in the schools during the school day to make sure, first and foremost, my kids can read and write. Secondly, we built the Workforce Center. We built the largest youth workforce center in the history of Boys and Girls Clubs of America. We want to put bread in kids' pockets. And we know in America, 51% of working-age adults don't have college degrees. So we built a state-of-the-art center that teach young people how to become plumbers, carpenters, electricians, entrepreneurs, to the point now they're replicating what we've done in Madison and 22 cities across America.
That's powerful.
And I would also say you got to do things that you got to empower young people, and you also got to pay them. So when I was a kid, I started working at 13. That kept me off the streets. That kept me from selling weed and crack cocaine because somebody gave me a job.
Right, something to do.
I talk about that in my book is something to do, and that's what we try to do. So in our workforce program, I don't want kids coming for free. We raised $35 million in 16 months. We created an endowment so we can pay our kids and partner with the right folks to meet kids where they're at. And that's what we try to do with my organization.
Now, I'll say this. A lot of people, they want to give these kids a big Martin Luther King speech.
Yeah.
And, and without no resources for them to, kind of on a day-to-day basis interact with, it's going to be a problem.
No doubt about that. You got to, man. It's funny because, I look at some of the young people that we serve right now, right? And I think about my own life. And there was a guy by the name of Peter Goshes who owned a liquor store in my neighborhood. When my homies were selling 8 balls, he was telling me, come and get the same amount of money in my grocery store, and I'll show you the way. And so if we're going to tell young people to stay away from the streets, we have to give them an economic opportunity and create economic equations.
That's how the streets lure them out there.
Exactly. And a lot of it is economics, right? And so a lot of times we as nonprofit leaders, we raise resources, and sometimes those resources don't necessarily get to those who are the most vulnerable in our community.
I agree. And even when I'm out here in the community, I'll be like, where are all these dollars going to these nonprofits? Are they hitting the streets?
Yeah.
Because every time I, need a resource to try to respond to some of the things that are in the community, a lot of times it's just a mission statement.
You know what it is,
and the mission is not even being done.
Some folks, and I'm not being critical.
No, just talk. Tell your truth,
right? And my truth is, I've tried, bro, to stay connected to the streets, right? So even though I'm from the streets, I lived in the projects 23 years of my life. My family still live, on the west side and south sides of Chicago. They keep me grounded. And even in Madison, I make sure that I stay connected to the streets. And sometimes I be like, man, you be hanging out with this guy named Jackie Bodine who dressed like a pimp. Jackie, one of the smartest guys that I know. I think about Corey Marino, who spent 10 years in prisons here in Wisconsin. Corey keeps me grounded. And then I connect them to people who are multimillionaires and in some cases, billionaires who we leverage those relationships to help get things done for young people in our community.
And the powerful thing about that is you're in a space where you can make the connection. They can never get the connection, but since you run a lot of the ideas for the Boys and Girls Club. You've been successful at doing the things that you were called to do. No doubt. It opens up the gates for you to say, hey, look, this is a great thing that we can do.
No doubt.
And so that's powerful within itself.
And you got to be able to bridge those two worlds, right? So like one of the things I knew I had to do as an up-and-coming nonprofit leader was to go get as many credentials. I had to first learn how to read and write.
Right.
And then years later, I ended up going to Harvard Business School, Cornell University, the Center of Philanthropy at Indiana University. I ended up going to get my MBA. Somebody that could not read and write just 15 years ago.
Coming out that public school system.
Exactly.
Like a lot of the kids coming out of the public school system.
Yes, sir. And
test scores is down.
And that's why, bro, our after-school programs can't just be all fun, right? We want young people to have fun, but they got to know how to read and they got to know how to write. And you got to add that to it. And that's why I wrote this book, because there's a lot of people in Milwaukee, in Madison, in Green Bay. They got the will, but they don't have the mindset and they don't have the business acumen to go out and, one, grab those resources and then connect those resources to the street.
And I tell people, like, they don't teach you financial literacy.
Yeah.
And then you sometimes when we get out in the streets and they say, okay, it's easier to lure somebody out when they think it's just about the money.
No doubt.
But no, it's about understanding how to make money, how to work a business, how to initiate the entrepreneurship. A lot of times when it comes to the streets, it ain't no paperwork to it.
That's right.
And a lot of people, I'm out here hustling, but really it's all in vain because you can't even take it and transfer it and make it work for you.
You get no 401k after putting 20 years, in the streets. And bro, I learned that the hard way. I went to a school where the coaches dressed up in Ku Klux Klan outfits.
Oh, wow.
And pretended like they were going to lynch me. I sue the school. I come home a millionaire at 19 years old.
Oh, wow.
And 6 months later, I was broke. So I came home.
With $1 million?
Oh, yeah, I came home. You remember New Jack City?
You must have turned up.
Man, I turned up, bro. So remember New Jack City? That movie with, maybe I'm telling my age, but with Nino Brown. I came home with a Kango, a big chain on, and my drop-top truck. And I just started a record label named Old Murder Records. And then I just started throwing. I bought a restaurant, and before you know it, it was gone.
Right.
And I look back on that, and I'm thankful that I had that experience because it made me respect.
Somebody said, what school was that?
University of Minnesota. Morris.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's very common.
I had an incident with Minnesota. I had to sue. They tried to jump me at work and put me in the hog grinder in Nobles County.
I ain't surprised.
Hey, that's what I tell people. Anytime somebody call me and say something happened in Minnesota. What part?
This one. So I ended up going to, this was a smaller school. And 30 years later, they invited me back to come and speak to the campus, and then they transferred me to the big school. So they did what they needed to do. But the fact that in 1993, somebody thought it was funny to burn a cross, to pretend like they were getting shot. The players went to jail. The coaches went to jail. And at that time, man, I had never experienced. I never thought. I probably met Klan members before, but I never met any that was in those outfits.
Right.
And it was real, man. I talk about it in the book.
Wow. Well, look, when we come back, we got Michael Johnson in the studio. He got the book out, The Audacity to Lead, a big contributor to the Madison, Dane County community and all across the country.
Yeah.
We're going to have more conversation when we get back. Truth Nation, stay locked in right here on Tory Lowe. 101, 7 The Truth, Tory Lowe Show. Look, we got an amazing guest, Michael Johnson, in studio. He is, I don't even know what the title is, because you the CEO, president of the Boys and Girls Club in Madison, Dane County. You also do a bunch of other things as far as helping others in need. You got this book, the Audacity to Lead, out. This is just amazing that you're here to make sure that everybody understands how to lead, how to get out here and take a stand, especially when you talk about communities that are disenfranchised and you're dealing with people that really need resources and you're creating the resource.
We have a responsibility to do so, man. When I think you said earlier, for what much is given, much is due, right? And so if you're in a position and you have a platform to be a blessing to other people, you got to find out, who need that support. And that's why over the years, especially over the holidays, you'll see me giving out $3,000, $4,000 tips to not just one person, like dozens of people. You'll see us, like I think about my maintenance guy. People were criticizing me and was like, why would you help get a $500,000 house for your maintenance guy? Why wouldn't I? You know, and sometimes you got to take care of the people on your team. And if somebody's one of the lowest paid persons on your team and they've been there and helped you do things in the community, you bless them too. And so I've just learned, man, if you utilize your power, and especially the power of social media, to ask people who have resources to be a blessing to others, you rock with it and you keep it moving.
And I think that many times, like, because I'll say, I never put, like when I do fundraisers, I make sure that the person in need has the account with somebody to watch.
Absolutely.
That's how I set it up, you know. And I think that many times when it comes to black people and money, it can get funny.
Absolutely.
People can start acting funny.
I learned that the hard way.
They start acting funny when it comes to money. So I don't want nothing. It's y'all, whoever is in the situation is the ones that got to deal with that. And I done seen it all kinds of ways. But the blessing is that when you do great for others, great always come back to you.
God will bless you, bro. I just believe that, man. My wife always say, like, you know, you covered, you do right by people, the blessings will always come your way. And I fundamentally believe that. But you so right on those GoFundMe pages. Back in the day, I would raise money on GoFundMe for families, for funerals. And then people start be like, he's stealing all the money. Man. And I'm like, oh, my God.
I'm trying to tell you.
And so now I just say, we'll help you set it up. But y'all got to pick a family member, and we'll help. I'm
gonna tell you this: I was off the top. I knew it was funny with them because I was a deacon in church. I was a deacon at a young age, from 15 to like 23. So I already knew, like, okay, when I got to the situation, who's a responsible person? Who's going to pay this bill? And that's how I always did.
And people start fighting. They see $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 in there. They start fighting on who's the custodian.
I'm trying to tell you, they don't understand how serious it gets. And the family turmoil is off the chain. I'm talking about, I had folks fight at the bank over money that was raised for the loved one, and they up there at the bank going back. I'm talking about, it be going down, but we still got to mediate it, because they don't show that on the news.
They don't.
That's the part that don't make the news.
I just learned, bro, you gotta just take the shots, right? Like if there's this public perception you're doing something wrong, as long as you know you're doing right by that family, you just keep it moving, because
plus you got haters too.
Hurt people.
Well, you got people that don't like that they don't have the ability, and then they get jealous, and there's a lot of extra conversation like that. And I ignored a lot of that. You know what I mean? It's plentiful. That type of stuff. People that they want to do what you're doing, but then they see you doing it, and they feel some type of way. That's envy and jealousy.
I follow all y'all in Milwaukee. I see it with some of the major activists and people here on social media, and it's real, man. It's a great point.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you, it's a dog fight.
It is.
And this is when you're doing right. But you know, I always tell people, when the people was out here selling dope and messing up the community, you know, people was high-fiving. And they was poisoning the community, and they didn't get the pushback. And then, you know, so I say, okay, do you look at it like that, or do you say, okay, long as we're getting the outcome, that's all that counts?
And that's how I look at it, man. When I look at my critics, I say, are you helping 250 black kids graduate from high school and go to college every year? No. Are you raising hundreds of or tens of millions of dollars to help black and brown kids in your community? No. Are you helping to buy houses and cars and pay people rent? No. And before, because of where I grew up from, I'd be like, if you throw a stone at me, I'm going to throw 5 of them at you. I've learned, man, you just got to ignore them.
You got to ignore it.
You just got to keep it moving.
You don't know.
They'll suck up all your time.
Every day somebody will make a post saying something crazy, and I'd be like, God bless.
God
you know,
bless.
Because at the end of the day, when you're dealing with the public, you got to have thick skin. Especially if you're doing the right thing. Like, if you're doing the right thing, you got to have thick skin.
That's real talk.
Because just like I always tell people, when God moves, the devil moves.
No doubt.
So you ain't going to never escape it.
No doubt.
It's like a dance that's going to be forever, as long as you breathe it.
You'll kill yourself trying, man. So I could tell you've been through the
I got it going on today. When I get off the air.
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell you, it's nonstop. in my world.
But it's the life we live, man. Like, you know, we want to give back to the community. We want to see our community do better.
Right.
And somebody got to be in that gap. And what I've learned, you can't be in that gap by yourself. So I agree. As I've gotten to mature in my role, I've learned to partner with different people who are go-getters. Because there's a lot of people out here doing stuff, but they ain't really doing it. And so I've just learned over time who I can rock with and who I can't to ultimately get things done.
And you know what? I'll tell you this. I'm starting to learn because I felt like if I was there, I know what to do. But I'm starting to learn, okay, this person can handle that.
You know,
because sometimes you'll be like, okay, you want it done right. Sometimes you want it done right, you got to do it yourself. But you can't be 1,000 places at one time.
Exactly.
So I always ask God to give me the people that are willing to do the work because a lot of times it's about doing the work. A lot of people, they may have the potential. But they're not willing to put in the man hours. I always tell people the man hours is serious. And sometimes you think it take 20 minutes or 30 minutes. No.
They want it too fast, man.
No, you could be at dealing with somebody's situation for 2-3 days straight. And that's a lot of man hours, especially if you got birthdays coming up, especially if you got things that you want to do. And I always tell people, you can't work the community on a 9 to 5.
Exactly. Let me tell you
it's just round the clock.
There's this brother named Corey Marino who, when he got out of prison, he came to me. He said, "Man, I want to give back to the community." And some people was like, "No, bro, that's Goon. Goon he stick up people. You don't want to associate with him." Well, Goon now runs the Black Men Coalition of Dane County.
That's powerful.
Goon is now raising millions and millions of dollars for Black men in Dane County, and Goon, also, who is now Corey, put me in touch with a woman that I couldn't get money from, and she turned around and gave $1 million towards one of my projects.
That's powerful.
So sometimes all you got to do is invest in other people, and those blessings will come back to you tenfold.
Thanks to the Goon.
Yes, sir. Yes, and even those names, right? Like it's just like in Milwaukee, we all like my nickname was Boobaloo, and I talk about that in the book. I got friends, man, who had all kinds of crazy nicknames, and just because I'm a CEO, I don't run from my past. I'm thankful I grew up in the projects. I'm thankful I grew up in poverty. I'm thankful that I had those experiences because it has made me a better CEO.
And the cool thing about it is, I'm from 5th and North Avenue, so I walk through 5th and North Avenue by myself.
Yes.
And they love me. When you're doing the right thing, you don't have to worry.
That's right.
Only when you're doing something, and you making people get mad because you're not doing what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, people respect you.
But when they respect you, to this day, anytime I want to go, I go through the blocks, I walk through the blocks, and I still knock on doors and talk to everybody in the neighborhood.
Let me tell you, bro. Let me tell you how I know you got respect. There's this brother D-Star who do a podcast. So he was the one who connected me to Steve-O. And so Steve-O was setting up some connections for me in Milwaukee. And I said, "Man, bro, I can't break up my day and be in Milwaukee at 2 o'clock." And then D-Star was like, "No, bro, the truth you don't walk away from.
Right.
This brother is the man. You cancel your show because it ain't every day you can go and break it up with somebody."
Right.
And that's all he had to say. And then when I looked you up and saw your face, I said, "I've seen this brother. He the real deal."
Thank you. Hey, like I said, I knew what you was doing because I saw you. I looked up one day and I saw you on Good Morning America. And I keep telling that because that's the first time I said, "Who in Madison on Good Morning America? What you doing?" Then a couple situations happened with police, things like that in the community, and you was always in the front of those things.
You got to challenge them, man. And sometimes even people in the police community, when George Floyd was killed the next day, I challenged all the police chiefs. I said, I challenge every last chief in Dane County to speak out against this. And I got criticized for doing that. But the reality is, we represent Black boys and Black girls, and I have nieces and nephews who are Black. And when I saw that, man, it bothered me. So why would you not use your platform to say other people need to step up?
Right.
And sometimes our colleagues, our white colleagues, some people would step up and some would be quiet. And I felt like in that moment, you couldn't be quiet.
Hey, look, when we come back, we got Michael Johnson in the studio, book out Audacity to Lead. We want to know how we can continue to support what you're doing.
Thank you, brother.
When we get back, Truth Nation. Stay locked in right here on Tory Lowe Conversation. Look, we got Michael Johnson in studio, then raised over $250 million for organizations across the country, helping families, CEO, president of Boys and Girls Club in Madison, Wisconsin, Dane County. It's a blessing to have you on the show.
Thank you, bro.
And we got Steve-O stopping in as usual. Salute to Steve-O.
Man.
Hey, that's what the Steve-O brought gifts. He brought gifts when he came through with gifts.
The Ricardo Moore, everybody know about the Ricardo Moore black-owned tequila out of Milwaukee, made by my mother, and we got that Boosie Cognac Bacardi.
Okay, let me. Look at this Truth Nation. Look at this. Look at what he talking about. What is now this?
That's called Ricardo Moore.
Okay,
my mother's name is Ricardo Love.
Okay,
look at the other side. You see the picture of her face on the bottom?
That's amazing.
Okay, it's a face on the bottom.
On the side,
right there. Right.
Okay, it's a face on here.
That's my mother. So I put
what? That's your mama?
Yeah, representing around the world. Rest
and then this one right here. What is it?
So that's Boosie. It's called Bacardi. Like
this Boosie,
but Bacardi, Boosie Cognac.
Okay,
100% Cognac from France. Some of the best cognac out there. That's the VS. Got VSOP too. So we got the Reposado and tequila. So y'all, all your liquor stores, Ray's Liquor, Outlet Liquor, Village Street Liquor, everywhere you go, North Avenue Liquor, wherever side of town we got it, man. It's going to Myers next month, but it's at Woodman's right now on South.
Okay, that's powerful.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
True entrepreneur.
Entrepreneur. That's all I know about Steve-O.
Love it. I love it.
Well, man, you might have seen it in the movie Ocean View, which out right now as a plug. Y'all go watch Ocean View on Tubi and Amazon Prime.
Powerful.
Well, put out some good movies. I watched what was it, Negligence?
Oh yeah,
last night. That was a really good.
Yeah, that's classic with Omar Gooding and Clifton Powell. Yes, sir.
Well, Michael, I'll tell you this: how can we continue to support what you're doing for communities, not only in Madison and Dane County, but all of the work that you're doing?
No doubt. I'm gonna first and foremost, support the kids in your local neighborhood. Our kids all over the country need people who can get things done for them, whether it's your time, your talent, or your treasure. And then if you have the time and you want to follow what I'm doing, I would ask people to just Google me. Google Michael Johnson, the Audacity to Lead, or Michael Johnson, Boys and Girls Clubs, CEO. And you'll see I'm active on Facebook. I'm active on social media. And writing this book was just an opportunity to create a blueprint for a new generation of leaders that can go out and connect resources to young people. And so if you want to reach me, you can reach me on social media, Google me, or go to mjohnsonCEO.com, mjohnsonCEO.com, and all my social media links are on there.
That sounded powerful.
Thank you, sir.
That sounded powerful. And this is where I say that you have to expose the children to people that have the mindset on how to become an entrepreneur, on how to become an author, on how, because a lot of times we'll have these speeches, oh, you can do this, you can do that, but I think exposure is the best way to help kids actually see, okay, if he can do that, I can do that.
Let me tell you two quick examples of that. You so spot on, man. When I was a kid, growing up in the projects, I had never in my life, at 14 years old, ever been to a house. And there was a liquor store owner who just simply took me to the suburbs and showed me his house that made me believe that I could buy a house for my family. And that stayed with me all those years. And then secondly, when I was in Harvard Business School, I always thought I thought big, but there was this case study of this eye doctor by the name of Dr. V, who raised over $150 million for a hospital in Indonesia. And then I got to thinking, I was trying to raise $1 million at the time. I said, no, I got to think bigger than this. I said, I'm going to raise $30 million. And I put together this business plan. I called this lady she was the founder of American Girl Doll. I had cold called her.
Oh, wow.
Got a form with her, and 3 days later had $5 million in our bank account.
That's powerful.
And that was because we created a larger vision. And so all these types of stories I try to talk about in the book, not to brag, but to say, here's a blueprint. Here's what you can do. Here's how you can go about doing it. You may not be able to read and write today, but you might be able to read and write tomorrow. You may not have raised $1 million today, but tomorrow you can. And the reason I called the book The Audacity, have the audacity to think big. Have the audacity to walk through doors that you normally don't get through. Have the audacity to lead in a way that's transformational. And that's how I've tried to live my life.
Hey, and it's showing in the results.
Thank you, brother.
It's showing in the fruits of the labor.
Man, it feels good. And I'm sorry if I'm talking
no,
so
go right
much.
ahead.
There's this young lady, bro, who in Milwaukee just graduated from one of these medical schools. I think it was Marquette. She sends my secretary a text like, can Mr. Johnson come to my graduation? And I get about 300 kids every year that graduate. So I was like, if I'm free, I do it. So my secretary was like, nah, she's graduating from Marquette University from medical school. So I come up to Milwaukee, I go to her graduation. This girl had just went through our program like 8-9 years ago. She's now an OBGYN.
Oh, wow.
Delivering babies at UW Health. And now she's on my board of directors as one of my bosses. And she was just one of my club kids 9 years ago.
You know what? I'm going to tell you this. These are the things that makes it all worthwhile.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you see the fruits of your labor.
Absolutely.
And this is what happens. That's why I say it's no need to listen to a lot of the outside noise, because when you're doing the work and you're planting seeds, when they grow,
it's powerful.
And you get to look and see, okay, wow, my efforts or something I was a part of was able to produce somebody like this.
And that's why I'm so
that's
proud.
powerful.
That's why I'm so proud of Corey. And I was telling Steve about Corey yesterday. So many people would have wrote Corey off because he spent 10 years in the penitentiary and 2 of those years in the hole. And there were people who wrote him off. Now there's people all over the state trying to get to Corey because of how he's raising money, what he's doing for black men. And a lot of times people write us off. And that's why I called the book The Audacity, because who has the audacity to write us off? Who has the audacity to tell us we can't do the greatest things that society can offer us to be? And sometimes we allow the circumstances of our environment to keep us down. And I've just tried over the years.
And the negative energy, the low vibration.
Yeah,
you got to overcome so much when you're talking about dealing with our communities. And the fact that even we're here on the radio as two people that have been able to overcome some of the worst beginnings in life. This is motivation for those in our community to say, hey, look, we can do it too. And it's just that simple.
And you can't be, at one point, sometimes some people, they make it, they get into these roles, they don't come back and give back to the community, or they don't tell their past because they're embarrassed about it.
Right.
And it's like, no, it was a blessing to grow up in the projects. And I know that sounds crazy, but it really was, because it shaped who I am today. And I think for some reason God placed us in certain situations, and your path is already created. And sometimes I've learned, man, somebody can get you to the door, but at the end of the day, you got to knock that door down. And so I've just learned, man, to try to be a bridge builder. And sometimes when you're a bridge builder, you get walked on from both sides of the bridge. That's just real. But I also realize there's a lot of people with wealth in this community. There's a lot of people from our community that need that wealth to help support their families. And if you can be that bridge builder to help make that connections, look at Steve-O. I'm just meeting this brother, and I look at all these movies that he got out on Tubi. This brother's a serial entrepreneur.
Right.
He's honoring his mother by putting her face on the tequila bottle.
On his product.
That's powerful, bro. That's powerful.
Generational wealth.
Generational wealth. But at the same time, honoring his family.
That's powerful.
I love that. And that's why in my book, I talk about the power of love. I married a black woman who was a chemist. A black woman, when I was selling drugs, who told me to stop and go back to school and make something better of my life. A woman who told me before I could get in bed with her that she had to run my credit report and do a background check on me. And I was like, man, she's serious.
Right.
But I wanted it that bad. I was willing to give her my my Social Security number. And when I married my wife, she told me I couldn't get a pack of loud ladies on credit.
Oh, wow.
Now that woman has built my credit up. I can get whatever I want.
Power.
And so the power of love can be real if it's done the right way. And I also talk about that in the book.
Yes,
well, look, I thank you for coming in.
Thank you, brother.
You know what, Michael, we got to have you come back, because
Anytime.
we got a lot going on with the youth. We got a lot of other conversations that you have dealt with that could be beneficial to the community.
No doubt.
And I definitely want to have you to come back through. Once again, the Audacity to Lead. Michael Johnson's available now.
Before you let him go, that's why I said it's so important for y'all to get this book. Like when I got a good book that would open my mind to doing my liquor, my movies, everybody asks about my music, by reading a good book. And this book right here is going to inspire a lot of young black men that need it. So if you're a teacher or a community leader or do something with the kids or young men, or just you're looking for somebody that's kind of lost, go get this book for them and let them read this. It can really open their eyes.
Pow! off.
Thank you.
Hey, look.
Thank you.
Once again, thank you, Steve-O. Thank you, Michael Johnston, for coming through. A lot of knowledge, a lot of power, a lot of networking going on in this room. And we can do it too. We can all come together and be successful. And I appreciate you for writing this book, The Audacity to Lead, out now on Amazon.
Amazon, Goodreads, mjohnsonCEO.com.